So I was listening to a podcast about happiness. I've been listening to a lot of the Andrew Huberman lab podcast, and he gives a lot of, it's kind of heavy lecture based, but he gives a lot of information. I love science, obviously, because I'm a pharmacist. I learned a lot about drugs and how it affects the brain. So, I found his podcast to be very entertaining. Like I said, they are long, though. It's about 2-3 hours. But he had a podcast about happiness, and kind of the one nugget that I took from this podcast was happiness. So, what one line he said that is, happiness is when you make a decision, and then after you make that decision, and that decision has to be the best decision you can make at that time, given your circumstances, given your situation, given the knowledge that you had at the time. And then once you make that decision, committing to that decision and eliminating all other possibilities and options. And that hit home for me, right? Because recently, and this was happened by accident. I just got a new job at a new hospital, and I'm gonna start there in February. But I got a huge raise by going to this job, right? Like, you're talking $78,000 raise compared to my current job, which is a huge raise. And ironically, like, before I got this job offer, I literally did like 16 interviews for multiple other hospitals, and ironically, like, all those hospitals like rejected me. And I can go into the reasons as to why, but there's so many reasons. Like, a lot of times, when you're like in a pharmacy leadership position or pharmacy management position, it's a small world, and a lot of times they'll post a position, but they already know who they want to hire. It might be someone internal, it might be somebody that they know already, it might be someone that they worked with already. And so a lot of times they'll bring you in as a formality just to interview you, but in reality, you're just a quota for them, but they already know who they want to hire, right? And I experienced that quite a bit. Just because you're the most qualified doesn't necessarily mean you get the job. In W2 world, as you know, you've heard this, like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So even though I might know a lot, I might be a good employee, I don't know people, and they can get brought on, right? Even though they may not have as much experience, they may not be as good as me, so on and so on. So I did a lot of interviews, and ironically, I got rejected for multiple jobs, right? Like you're talking about like 10 jobs I got rejected from. So in a weird way, it kind of made me accept my current job more, because like, as I kept on getting rejected, I was just like, you know what, I made a decision to go to this job. It was the only option at the time, and I started to accept it more, and it brought me more happiness, because I'm like, even though the commute is very far, even though the pay may not be the greatest, maybe the growth opportunity is not as much, but hey, this is my only option. I kind of accepted it. It makes sense for me, and I noticed I was getting happier. And then, shortly after, I thought I got rejected from this hospital, because, this hiring process took about like 5 months, and I ended up getting the job, and I was actually extremely happy to get the job. Like, number one, it was the highest paying job out of all the opportunities I had. It's for a pretty world-renowned hospital. That's definitely well known if I say what it is. And also, it was like the last option that came out of nowhere, and I literally, every other job was eliminated, so I had no other options, right? It's like every option was eliminated. I accepted the job, and it became almost a no-brainer, right? Like, it became a no-brainer decision for me, and it made me achieve happiness. And it's funny, because like, all of a sudden, like, more recently, I saw another job at another hospital that I was interested in. I was like, wait a second, how come this opportunity is here? And then when that other option arrived, I became not as happy, because I'm like, oh, like, now I'm questioning my decision. Oh, was my decision the best one to go to this hospital with this pay? And this hospital is good too, and it might pay more, right? So once more options were presented, I noticed that I became not as happy, right? So in a weird way, like, when all options were eliminated and I made a decision, that's when I was happy. It's like, hey, I have no other options. They're all eliminated. This job makes sense. It's a closer commute, pays more. It's for a world-renowned hospital. No brainer. Go there, right? But the moment another hospital popped up that's also world-renowned, pays well, in a great location as well, now I'm not as happy. I'm like, oh, should I have done this? Should I try this one? Like, once you start having multiple decisions, that's when you start to become happy. So it kind of made me realize that, okay, well, either A, I can just apply for that job and most likely get rejected, because they probably have an internal candidate that they want to bring up, or they know somebody that they want to hire, right? So I can apply and eliminate that option that way, right? That's what I end up doing. Or I just can eliminate it from my mind and say, you know what, based on the information I had at the time, this job wasn't available. I got rejected from every other job. I accepted the job, and it's okay. right? Just accept it, and I eliminate other options. So like I just can pretend I never saw that job, right? So there's two ways to eliminate it. I can either apply, just get rejected, probably that's the case, or I can just eliminate from mind, say, you know what, at the time this made the most sense for me, I don't regret it, move forward and eliminate this was even a possibility, and you'll be happy, right? So I kind of noticed a lot in life for like when I had so many options, that's when I was the unhappiest, right? Like I'm trying to look for a house right now, and I'm documenting my journey, but I'm just jumping city to city every time, right? I'd be like, oh, I'm looking at houses in this city, looked at it, oh, didn't like it, I'm now going to this city, oh, looking at it, don't like it, and I'm like, so many options, and it's making me and my girlfriend happy. Versus if we just chose one city, commit to that one city, and just do it and eliminate all options, we'd be happier, right? So it's kind of eye-opening in that sense, just hearing that nugget from the Andrew Huberman podcast. So it's kind of interesting, like when this power of acceptance, right? Like you just make a decision and accept it, right? Like that's what burned me in shiny object syndrome. Like I should have just picked one asset class, one market, accept it, and eliminate every other option, and you'll be a lot happier, right? So the moment I started doing that, that's when I became happier. So for me, as it relates to real estate, once I just picked Oklahoma, small apartment complexes in Oklahoma, that's it. Eliminate every other market. No Alabama, no Arkansas, no Tennessee, no Georgia, no North Carolina, no Las Vegas. Eliminate it, I'm happy. Just Oklahoma, small apartment complexes. In California, I can buy single family homes, right? Just eliminate everything else. Or in Alabama, I have a single family home there, I could buy a single family home in Alabama and eliminate all their options. So there's only 3 options for me, right? Once again, single family home in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, single family homes in California where I live, or apartment complexes in Oklahoma where I have apartments already. Those are my 3 options. Everything else is eliminated. No mobile home park, I sold mine for a loss. No self-storage, no industrial, that's it. So there's a beauty in simplicity and acceptance. I get it. It's sexy to talk about Airbnb, but I don't do Airbnbs. Eliminate it. There's a sexiness to midterm rentals. I don't do it. Eliminate it, right? There's a beauty to industrial real estate. Don't want to deal with it. Eliminate it, right? So as you start to like trim all the options, you start to become happier. Because I know, and I felt in that category, oh, I want to buy apartments, I want to buy a mobile home park, I want to buy self-storage, I want to buy industrial, I want to do Airbnb, I want to do like 10,000 different things and not be happy, right? I want to do this Amazon dropshipping business, I want to do a pharmacy. The more I've trimmed and the more I simplified, the more I eliminated options, the happier I became, right? So I've been through it, right? And I talk to a lot of people, oh, I want to do 10,000 things. I'm like, I hate to burst your bubble, but just do one thing and commit to that decision. Don't regret that decision, and keep moving forward, right? So I'm trying to apply that to many facets of my life. If I just take this job, just accept it, eliminate options. If I buy this real estate, just accept it, eliminate other options. Because I used to kick myself saying, oh, I bought this mobile home park. Like, why did I buy this apartment complex in Oklahoma instead, right? Like, at the time, I was all about options. But, so it made sense. So it's okay. I made a decision. I sold it. I lost money. But now, if I had the choice between an apartment and a mobile home park, it's easy. No mobile home park, just buy the apartment in Oklahoma. So, that's kind of the way I frame it now, and the way I view it now. So, there's a piece in acceptance, there's a piece in eliminating options, and there's a piece of just saying, you know what, I just made this decision, I'm just going to stick with it and do it for a long period of time. And I guarantee you, if you pick one thing, you do it for a long period of time, there's no way you won't be successful at it, right? Like, I'm just going to create content every day for a long time. Eventually, I'll get there. I'll get big, right? Real estate. If I just keep on buying real estate in Oklahoma, eventually I'll be big. I'll have way more enough real estate that I know what to do with. Right? I already own 50 units in Oklahoma. The next time I'm ready to buy an apartment complex when interest rates drop, like I'll probably buy a 30 to 50 unit apartment complex and be good for like 4 to 5 years after that, and then stabilize that. And at that point, maybe I'll buy another one if I want to deal with that, right? If it makes sense for me. So hopefully you kind of found some value from this video. Hopefully it gave you more clarity in terms of accepting your situation and eliminating other options to make you more happy. And hopefully you learn from how I applied this happiness principle to myself, to my job, to my real estate, and to my business opportunities. Please share this video with somebody who would find value from this. Please ask me any questions or comments down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.